Hello Nation, this is your fearless leader Gamer Plus, and today we are playing Sins of a Solar Empire. And today we have a special guest, a very good friend of mine. Tons of fun.
Did you hear about like all the crazy crap that happened on Black Friday?
No, what?
Um, basically, like there's just a bunch of fights at Walmart.
God.
The whole thing is I work with a guy who's like from up north, like where you are. I think he's from like Michigan though. He's like, man, that stuff like never happens. You know, you see it on the news, but you just assume, like I just never thought it was real. And I'm like, oh, it's real. Like, I've been into some close calls in Walmart, man. Like, I've never fought anybody, but it's been close. Like, there's been some pretty close calls. I mean, like, even with like all these bonuses on and everything, like when I'd play, like I'd do everything I could to sort of put myself in the position of getting a better chance of finding an artifact. I remember I went 2 whole systems, never found one.
Oh, yeah. Or if you find it doesn't really do anything.
Make it back.
Come on, go, Colony Frigate, go.
Call the shot. Make it fast.
Yeah, I
They're
found
as
something.
good as dead. Ready for battle. What do you want? How about some attack orders? That's more like it. That's more like it.
Star Trek?
Yeah, Star Trek.
Yeah, they have become like really overt with their.
Yeah, I heard it
Betrayal.
wasn't that bad when they first started off, but it was also a pay-to-play game as well.
How can I be of
And
service?
even when they went free-to-play, it wasn't that bad to begin with, and they just got more and more like, hey, so you
Head
should give us
slow.
cash to buy things.
Where do you need me? A sound plan. Planet development finished. Research complete.
I mean, I'll probably go back and play Eve. I miss those like all night grinds. You know, just like what was our grind site at?
Del Toll, I think.
Del Toll, yeah. God, I miss that grind.
Well, I told you I'm with a
Research
new
complete.
corporation
Nothing
now,
of
right?
value.
Corporate Alliance. I'm like, hey, it's high sec. It sounds like fun. But then the guy who was in charge of the Alliance,
Structure complete.
I can't think of his name right now, but basically he kept making like boneheaded decisions. Like we kept getting war decked by, just war deck corporations and alliances. And then at one point, the thing that really pissed
More crystal
John
is
off
needed.
was what the guy, basically, JT Clonaries. That's his name, I think.
Allied
He and another guy
forces are
found
being
like one of the
attacked.
heads of a corporation that war decked us,
Yeah.
and just went and charged after them with no strategy. Like he and another guy, there was no logi ship or anything to support, and they got lured into a
Nothing of
trap.
value has been found.
So like no base value, no scouting out like how big they are or what kind of capabilities they
complete.
have. You know, no basic
just-
scouting was done.
Development finished.
Like
They just saw the guy and chased after him with a couple of ships, like to attack. Like which would be good if you weren't going, if you were in the middle of your territory, but they were not in the middle of territory. So Jean left because of that. He got caught up with the real world stuff. So I'm like, hey, no worries.
Research complete.
Plus, then by the time that I kind of got hooked up with in fact, I'm still with him, a pirate corporation.
It happens, dude. I went pirate for a while. You know, it helps
Planet
with your
development
PvP.
finished.
The thing is, we're not really even like legit.
All
Like we
hands,
say we are, but
prepare
then half
for
the stuff we
phase
do is
jump.
very not like. But I'd expect pirates to be like, we're low sec, so I guess low sec's different. I guess even John's like, yeah, low sec is its own beast. Like, you just have to come to the realization of that.
Yeah, like when I joined Swarm
Analysts have
Coalition,
found something
they were semi-pirate, and we used to hit caravans for plexes and like just loot. And yeah, I mean, we weren't really like, we were still a corporation that was evolving. You know, that was just the easy
Our
money.
fleet is under
You know,
attack.
but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just where the easy
Intel
money
reports
was.
an impending pirate raid.
Well, the thing with us is like, I was like, so we don't gate camp, do we? He's like, no, we don't lower ourselves to gate camping. The only thing we've done that I've helped participate in is because low sec, there's really no rules, to be honest. We have been fighting, at least back before I had the game issues. There was another group, because our alliance was Resonance. We were, there's another group called Crazy Americans who, as they put it, didn't belong in low sec, so we're going to kick
Research
them out
complete.
without their, willingness. So basically, we'd get a bunch of oracles, an oracle fleet up, go up there, destroy their
Pirate raiders are on the loose.
control towers, take over, put a control tower down. And I remember the first time I actually got involved in a big PvP fight that wasn't. Well, you remember how some of ours went.
Scouts have
Yeah.
found a colonizable planet.
They didn't go that badly. Basically,
Yeah.
instead it was what happened? They warped in with a random
All
mishmash
hands,
of ships that
prepare
had
for
no,
phase jump.
depth or strategy to them at all.
Ah,
We destroyed them. We destroyed them with a whole bunch of oracles in a matter of seconds. They'd warp out, warp back with more ships. I think they lost. They must have lost hundreds of millions of dollars in this ISK in this vault
that's
to try to save one.
that's probably the dumbest shit. Like, I mean, because I was all about. I think you could call this a grinder core. Is basically what we were.
Structure complete.
But I mean, I still had like a solid defense plan when we were, doing our grind in Deltol, or if we were on Roams,
Planet development
we had
finished.
a good solid plan on what to do. Even when we went faction warfare for that short
Which
time,
was
we had
a
a
bit of a
solid.
disaster.
It was, but that's just because like we would almost get somebody, like he'd jump in and attack us, or even numbers we were good, but it was just us two, and
Research complete.
these guys are going
found a
around in
colonizable
like
planet.
groups of fucking 6. So I mean the odds were against us anyway. We all knew that. But it was good ISK. Like we made good ISK off of it. You know what? I think I'm gonna re-up
I still
tomorrow.
think the worst that we had though was probably it was just you and me doing a faction room. You were in your
Planet development finished.
Myrmidon. I was in my Vexor, and this one person drops in a vulture and just destroys me and then warps out. I was like, oh come on.
Yeah, I hate it. Like I couldn't even lock on the
Research
guy.
complete.
It was so crazy. Yeah, and I'm like, we're not a pure Galenti core, but you should start flying Galenti. It sounds
No, like-
a lot easier.
These guys are the same. They're except for Amar. They're not
How can I be of
pure Amar
service?
alliance, but since they're in the area,
Allied
and plus,
forces are being attacked.
I'll give it to them. When you're running Amar, Amar is much better for long or continuous battle. There's ammo. You don't have to worry about as much about ammo or
A
anything like
sound
that.
plan.
Oh no, I know. Like Amar, they had the crystals. And
Which the crystals would fracture every time and eventually break down, but they would last a lot longer than ammo would. But the thing is, hybrid turrets do so much more damage, especially if you have a blaster.
oh yeah, and I mean, plus the Galenti drones are second to none. I mean, that's like their thing. I mean, all of
The
them
only-
deal a ton of damage. They're just like
All hands.
the fastest. I think
prepare
are
for
the
phase jump.
hobgoblins, and
Yeah, hobgoblins are fastest.
they're
followed
not
by
overly
the-
fast.
What's after hobgoblin? I can't think of it. But then
Hammerhead.
Hammerhead is the heaviest.
Yeah,
Hammerhead.
Hammerhead is medium because we
And then
used
there's
Phase jump complete.
oh, go ahead.
Hammerheads in Deltol, and then
Yeah.
because
Structure
I think you were
complete.
still training up Hammerhead too,
Structure complete.
and but you had Hobgoblin too, so I think one of
There
us
is
would
no
run.
further profit in
I was
attacking
running
an empire.
Hammerhead too, and
Phase
then
jump underway.
you were running Hob twos.
The thing that makes them worse is they don't even really have like a reason. Like it's not like they have like. I'm not trying to okay terrorists, but at least they're like you can understand why they do it. It's like, oh, we do it because of our ideology. This is just
Nothing of
because their
value has been
ideology
found.
is, yeah, why not? And that's what makes them terrifying to me is the fact that like they just do it for the sheer why the fuck
lols.
not of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They're
that
kind of
means
like
that-
Anonymous then. I mean, like certain factions of Anonymous, you know, because there's
Come on,
so
Anonymous is at least classy enough not to do that.
Well, do you remember what was it, that anonymous group, what are they called? Lulsec?
Yes.
Like they
Yes.
were taking down like they'd be like, today we're gonna take down freaking Scientology page, da da da, and then they did it. And then they were just like calling their shots until like they finally all got caught and arrested. I mean, that's kind of like how they are, because the whole structure of Anonymous is that they're all autonomous.
Structure complete.
You know, like you can just basically like me and you, if we wanted to like make our own hacker group, we could call ourselves Anonymous. You know, they have no real leadership, no real
Nothing
branch
of value
office.
has been found.
You know, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's what made. I actually never ran Goonswarm, but I remember like hearing this from you and John and other people. Like, that's what made Goonswarm so terrifying was the fact that when they actually came together, which is usually once a year to completely shut down a trade hub, like they were so efficient about it.
Oh yeah, like I was a part like because like within the first week of me being there, I was flying like frigate. I did like interceptor stuff, like basic
Scouts have
interceptors.
found a colonizable
And
planet.
basically what they did was we attacked not a trade hub, but it was a station, and we were shutting it down because there was these dudes just talking so much smack. And
Planet development
whole thing was
finished.
is that it was in HiSec. Galenti HiSec. And
Oh,
so
no.
yeah. And so I'm talking about 400 strong. And that number grew. Not because they were
Structure
helping us
complete.
shoot on this station, but all the NPCs that came in, all the other players that were just trying to get kills, it was just
Give the order.
stupid. It was crazy.
I'll do my best.
Like the time dilation, I think it lasted like 19 hours or something. You could probably still find it on YouTube. It's freaking nuts. And after that, like I was just like, you guys are just kind of dicks, just to be
Planet
dicks,
development finished.
you know.
Scouts have found a.
I stopped
Scouts have
playing
found
for like a
colonizable
month.
Planet.
I got back on, and nobody I knew, none of the officers that were there when I was there were there. And I was still a member of the corp, and I'm like, hey, where's Roggle? And they're like, who's this? And I'm like, this is Batson, man. You know, I've been in this corp since, you know, for like half a year now. Like, what's going on? I told Roggle I was gonna take a month off, and they're like, oh, he sold the corp to this guy and this guy, and he's
Scouts
like,
have
I'm the
found a
CEO now.
colonizable planet.
I'm like, well, you know, I was a lieutenant in the corp. What the hell's going on? And they're like, oh, well, you know, we restructured all the officers, and they're like, since we really don't know you, bye. And they kicked me.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And so naturally, I had to wait 30 days to be
Structure
kicked
complete.
because that was the procedure then. You know, they had to lock me out of all the lockers and all that stuff. But most of the lockers at the base I was at were still under Roggle. And so I just went in. I flew all my ships out. I'm like, look, I'm just going to take all my ships. I'm going to dock them at station. All right? And they're like, yeah. And so I just went in and I stole a bunch of ships. Like, a lot of those ships weren't even mine. Like, I think I had um, 2 thoraxes and a Vexor, and I left there with like 4 thoraxes, 3 Vexors. Um, let's see, a Dominix. Well, my first Dominix. I think I still have that Dominix. A Navy Edition Vexor, and
no.
yeah, and that's when they were super expensive too, when they like first came out, and a Pirate Faction Thorax.
My God.
And then I just never answered any of their hails. I waited 30 days. I was kicked, and they're like, "Hey man, did you take this ship?" And I go, "No."
Must have been Rick or whatever his name was.
Yeah, it's like, look, it was all under Roggle's name. You could ask. I mean, it's not like our station kept records. Because it was like our first station. And it's like no one kept records of it. I was the only one at that base. Like they were at our wormhole base, so I was the only one at that base, and they were parking their ships there, and he had sold them the wormhole and the corp, and so they were still in the process of moving into that wormhole when I took all those ships.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I emptied out like the fuel bay. I emptied out the fucking like if I could get into the financials, I would have like cleaned them out. But I emptied out like the storage lockers of any materials I could take like to break down. I was hoping to find plexes, but no one was dumb enough to leave those in storage lockers. I was praying to. I was like, please let there be plexes, but no, there was like fucking Tech 3 gear. There just tons of it. And I just like put it all up on the market.
Oh, speaking of sorry, you said Dominix earlier. They redesigned the Dominix. It's actually pretty intimidating looking right now.
What? God damn.
Remember how before it was like very. It was almost like someone just took a lump of clay and like was like, here is squished together. This is the ship.
No further profit
Yeah,
in hacking an empire.
it looked like someone broke a Thigh Master or something.
Yeah, and then like had that weird slant up front.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
redesigned it now. It's got a little bit more space on the back that's narrow, and they've changed the arc of it down. I'm using hand gestures, makes no sense. But now it's actually pointing forward. It looks like a fist. Just look up Dominic's redesign, and
Oh, I'm fixing to.
it looks like I like the Dominix for how it ran, but I did not like how the Dom looked. I love the Dom now. Like it may be my favorite Galente ship. I mean, it's still not as like, to me, perhaps my favorite looking ship in the game is probably the Rock, the Caldari battleship, but whatever.
No, that thing looks beastly.
Badass, right? I know, right?
They lengthened it out, like they put like wings on it and shit. That looks awesome.
Yeah, like instead of being like I want to find it before and after because I remember what it looks like, but I want to like have that visual record to like do a side by side comparison. Because it didn't look bad beforehand, but it looked, Especially since it was like if our main. I'll be honest, our main battle doctrine was drone boating.
Basically.
So you had and battleships, we had to run a Dominix. And let's face it, a Dominix is good to have in a fleet, but it doesn't really do any like. It's like you run certain Amar ships or Minmatar Caldari, and the other 2 Galente battleships. Like, oh man, this looks great. The Dom was just like, that's a ship.
Got
it is
job
a ship
for
that
me?
will fly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like the Dominix was basically come attack me. That's all it was. Like, I can soak, like, just, you're soaking up the damage, your drones are eating them up, and your support is, fucking them up, hopefully. Like,
Exactly.
That's why I always liked to fly the Myrmidon, because it could deal out both damage, it could tank, and it could do, and it could drone boat.
Base
It's
jump
like I forget who I
underway.
was talking to, but I was like, yeah, I was always told the Myrmidon was used for close-up combat. They're like, no, that's stupid. The Myrmidon's used for long range. I'm like, but looking at their base stats, it's much more of like
All
a
hands,
thorax. Like it's supposed to be in the
prepare
middle
for
of a
base
fight,
jump.
not like the Or did I say Myrmidon? Not Myrmidon. Megathron. That's it.
The Megathron, yeah, yeah. It was made to be, like, with the blasters, like, dude, like, you're supposed to jump in there. Like, I hate when people put rails on a freaking Megathron. Like, that pisses me off because I'm like, do you know how much damage you're wasting?
No harm in being bad. The Dominix was ugly.
Where do you need me? Secure the passengers.
So I was watching the news today, and there was a story on it, and it popped up in my news feed, and it was about, and this is some like real, like segued out into unknown territory kind of shit.
Planet development finished.
It was about a guy, like this girl, like she was babysitting this 6-year-old girl, and the girl was like hired by the family to babysit the girl for 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And for Thursday and Friday, all night, this girl was just screaming and crying about this clown doll that was sitting in this chair, right? And it was just the creepiest looking clown doll and everything. And it was terrible.
Sure you're not quoting Poltergeist here.
No, dead serious. This was like a big clown
All
doll.
hands, prepare for phase jump.
I'm 5'6",
Nothing of
and
value has been
this
found.
thing was just a little shorter than me.
Oh God.
I need some excitement.
But continue.
Yeah. But so this, she just like scream and cry about how the clown doll, hurts her, and how it was, gonna get her at night and all this. So the girl finally, she couldn't get any sleep. This girl was like screaming and crying all night for 2 nights, and she did everything she could except for take the fucking girl out of the room, right? And so, or get rid of the doll or move it to another room. Well, the doll apparently looked old and antique and everything, so she takes
Planet development
so she gets on her
finished.
phone and she calls her parents. She's like, hey, look, your daughter, like can I please, like, this, I know that antique clown doll, that really big one you have sitting in the chair in her room, can I move it? It looks old and everything, it looks valuable, I don't want to move it, but can I move it? She's screaming, she's crying, it's giving her nightmares, all this other stuff. And the parents are like, what clown doll? And so she takes a picture of it and sends it to the parents, and they're like, we never bought that. And she hears like thumping down the stairs, the door open and the door closed, and she runs up there and the clown doll's gone. And so she calls the police. The police get there, she explains everything, and so they get like the K9 unit out there, and they catch a guy dressed in a clown doll outfit, and apparently he's like a 2-time pedophile offender, and he'd been raping the girl every night.
No, you're fucking with me on this.
No, dead serious. You can look it up. Clown rapes girl, and it was a real
That's
story.
not gonna get the cop. Not gonna get cops on me.
Well, no. Well, it's not like you're doing it on the deep web or anything, but it was a real news story. And so I look it up, and because I heard about it at work, and so I look it up, and I'm like, holy shit, like me, I know what type of person I am. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little superstitious. So the girl would I'd be like, look, I'm big, I'm strong, I lift weights and everything, I'll beat it up. And I would have walked over there and grabbed it and realized it was a person, and then I would have did work. If that dude, because the way he looked, he was skinnier and shorter than me, but by what they said. So I was just like, I'd do work on the guy, I would have beat him for like an 8-hour day and fucking, called the cops and been like, yeah, I just realized it. He says you've been beating on him for 8 straight hours. And it's just like, who are you going to believe? Some dude hurting a little girl? Or the guy who saved her? Come on now. Come on. He could have got those bruises from anywhere. It's not my fault he fell down the stairs. He kept running up them. 6 or 7 times.
Sorry.
Well.
But
Oh no, go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Continue the story.
Well, anyway, so a couple hours later, I looked the story up to show my friends, and there's another article by another news website, and so I click it, and it's just like I think the news place was News H8 or some crazy shit, and turned out whole story was a fake. It was actually like something that got passed around because it was like an urban legend for a long time. And I love creepypastas and reading crazy shit like this, you know? Because there's nothing like, you know, listening to a creepypasta and then like you go to lay down to go to sleep and then it's just like, what the fuck was that noise?
Exactly. Especially if you live in an old house.
Yeah, and so I'm like, dude, I feel so ridiculous. But then I'm sitting there thinking, at least I had the right reaction, you know? I think I had the right reaction. You know, my reaction, go straight for the violence. But, you know, but I was just like, wow, that shit's crazy. Because the mugshot was real. It was a real mugshot of a guy. But it wasn't the guy they said it was. Because I think they said his name was like Ralph Horns. But this guy was a different guy, and he was a carjacker. So they basically just ruined this guy's life, right? And
Oh no.
yeah. I mean, because if you think about it, everyone's going to look at that picture and be like, holy shit, that dude's a pedophile. And they're going to beat his ass. They're going to do work. When really he's just like, no, dude, I just stole cars from children. And then they're just going to keep beating his ass.
I kind of feel kind of bad for the guy.
Right? He was just a thief.
I mean, friend, fuck him for, you know, jacking cars, but, you know.
Yeah, but he doesn't deserve like pedophile beatdown, you know, like
No.
they deserve a certain level of beatdown, and then carjackers, you know, you're stealing my shit, you're gonna catch a beatdown. But if you're raping my daughter, I'm gonna beat you to death. Like, I'm not gonna beat you down, I'm gonna beat you 6 feet into the ground, you know, that kind of shit. He might catch that kind of a beatdown. And the picture of the clown suit was a picture from a horror movie. And that's why it looks so fucking creepy.
Was it Poltergeist?
No, it wasn't. I mean, you can actually Google it right now. If you type it in, it's like one of the first links now about it being a hoax and everything. And the girl explained everything. And then, like, they compared that story to, like, the urban legend story and all that. Because they did fact checks on all of it. And they're like, the only thing fake that they put up there was the background picture, which was, like, a bunch of cops standing by their car at night and the lights are on. And, like, the little news headline that said, like, man dressed as clown rapes girl or some shit. Which, actually, there's a lot more clown rapes than you think there are.
I'm not surprised.
Where do you need me?
Alright guys, if you liked the video, please like the video. If you guys want to share this video with your friends and other people that you think would like Sins of a Solar Empire, please do. But as always, I will see you on the next level, gamers. Have fun in your adventures.
Ready, aim, fire.
Hello Nation, this is your Fearless Leader Gamer Plus, and today we are doing a review on Elder Scrolls Online. Now, I just felt this game needed a more updated review.